And as the city gets ready for the UN, once again, other political hot-button issues, to say the least, are also ramping up. Of course, numero uno on that list is the pending Supreme Court nomination for Brett Kavanaugh. Apparently, there is a tentative deal for both him and his accuser to testify on Thursday.
That news broke yesterday. Big news. ABC News political analyst Matt Dowd joins us now to break it all down. Do we know any details, or is it just I will speak, I will answer questions? Do we know who will be asking the questions? Will it be those women attorneys? Will she speak first or second? Why does that make a difference?
What are the general parameters? What do we know?
So the only thing we know now is she's planning on showing up on Thursday, and Brett Kavanaugh is planning on showing up on Thursday. The order of which they're going to testify has not been set, but my guess is she'll go first and he'll go second. Everything else is still being negotiated. Whether or not senators are going to ask the question, or they're going to have an outside counsel come in, whether they're not going to call other witnesses in, whether or not they're going to do other investigation, all of that hasn't been formalized or decided. But a hearing is likely to be held on Thursday.
But it sounds like, I mean, the key word here is tentative. This thing still may not happen if there's that many outstanding questions. I
think she's going to be in Washington, D.C. My guess is she will be in Washington, D.C. on Thursday, and in some manner, we will hear what she has to say.
And the comparisons, obviously, to nearly 30 years ago with Anita Hill and Clarence Thomas are inevitable. How do you think the Republicans have handled the situation compared to where we were as a nation 30 years ago?
I would say consistently and badly. In this I think that we're in such a different time and place with the Me Too movement and all that, and I actually believe that we should give women and in this position who take on powerful men the presumption that they're telling the truth, that we presume that they're telling the truth as opposed to we presume they're lying in this. I think they should have gone, the Republicans on the committee should have gone much more out of their way to accommodate what she wants, especially being likely a survivor of assault. They should have been much more compassionate in this, and they haven't been. They're between a rock and a hard place on this, politically and in many other ways on this, because they face the midterms in this. They know that women's votes are probably the most important votes that are coming their way. They know that women are upset with the president and all this. They know that women no longer side as exclusively with the Republican Party in this. So I think they handled it badly. We'll see how it goes Thursday.
Was it also handled badly as the information came in weeks ago?
Absolutely.
With Senator Feinstein? Is that fair to say that this was an 11th hour ambush? It should have come forward earlier.
I think it was handled badly, but I don't think it was an 11th hour ambush. I think in most of the time things in Washington, D.C. they're unintentional, stupid mistakes. She didn't want, as we all know, she didn't want to testify. She didn't want to be publicly known in all this. And I think initially Dianne Feinstein tried to keep it that way. For some reason, it leaked out. People assume it's the Democrats in this. I think Dianne Feinstein should have understood that when she got that information that there was no way it would hold, so she should have dealt with it earlier than she did now. But I don't think Dianne Feinstein sat back and said, I'm going to launch this as an 11th hour attack. I think it just happened the way it happened. And the press started getting wind of her, and they started asking questions.
And considering what happened with Merrick Garland, this wouldn't be the first political trick pulled with the Supreme Court seat. So
no,
neither party has a monopoly.
That's one of the things that the Republicans are at a difficult, hypocritical place on this, is because they delayed Merrick Garland. They didn't even hold a hearing for Merrick Garland for 400 days. And for some reason, they've been fighting extending this for 4 or 5 or 6 days, on this nomination. So they're at a difficult place on this. That's why they finally caved and gave her Thursday.
And we do want to move on to Rod Rosenstein, but first, in 10 seconds, does Kavanaugh survive this? Does he get on the court?
I think that's unknown right now, and I think there are many different ways this could go. I could see a scenario where Republicans push him through, though I don't think that's necessarily helpful to them. I can also see a scenario where finally we see over the next 3 days the information and what's heard is become so compelling that Brett Kavanaugh decides I'm not going to go through this, I'm done, and I pull my name down off of this. So it's totally unknown at this point.
Wow. Rod Rosenstein's story briefly. The Deputy Attorney General apparently asking for, suggesting the president, should be recorded, invoking the 25th Amendment. It is hard to believe someone is in a position to do that. And so there's this debate now, did he really do it, or was it
sarcasm? Right.
What do you make of this?
This is like what happens in emails, right? You can't ever, nobody knows the sarcasm. You send a note like, I was just joking.
No tone, right?
So we don't know. He's obviously, explanation is that he was sarcastically saying, what should I do, wear a wire in this? It sounds like a Tom Clancy novel, right? The whole thing sounds like where the assistant attorney general Journal is talking about the 25th Amendment and whether or not he should wear a wire in this. I think he survives until the midterms, and I think his success or his ability to stay there is totally dependent upon what happens in the midterms. Totally dependent on whether or not the Democrats take back the House or whether or not the Democrats take the Senate in this. I don't think Donald Trump is going to make a move on either Jeff Sessions or Rod Rosenstein until the midterms.
All right.
Well,
it's crazy. The only question is who plays Jack Ryan, right?
I vote Harrison. There you go.
I vote Harrison
That's
Ford.
You're a smart man.
That's
It's all about
that's always a good bet. Exactly.
Oh, what a week it will be.
Thank you so much.
Maybe Emily
Political
Blunt.
analyst for ABC News,
We need a
Matt
Jackie
Dowd.